Peace be with you. Dear friends, welcome to the series of talks on prayer, the theme, When I Cannot Pray. Today, I would like to reflect on the life of Jesus and his prayer. We have covered a great deal with regard to our prayer, how difficult at times we find it to pray. We find it difficult to sit for prayer, continue to pray, we have distractions. And I have given various ways and means of helping us to spend time in prayer. But one aspect of our prayer must be to look at Jesus. How Jesus' life was an exemplary life for our daily prayer. Jesus' contact with nature, Jesus' contact with the Father, and Jesus' contact with the people. All these things actually helped Jesus to bring that rich experience of prayer. Jesus, through his contact with the Father, sought only his will. He does not preserve the established order, but tries to discover and fulfill the Father's will. For him, obedience is not a question of fulfilling orders, but a firm decision in favor of what God demands within a concrete situation. God's will is not always manifested in the law. Normally, it reveals itself in the concrete situation where conscience is caught unawares by a proposal that demands a response. Jesus' obedience to the Father is a question of having his eyes open to the situation. It consisted in deciding for and risking his life in the adventure of responding to the Father who speaks here and now. So it is a responsible hearing, listening on the part of Jesus. Jesus said it was his food to do the will of the Father. His Father was always there. He approached the Father for fulfilling his will. We know that he prayed everywhere at all occasions, even during his daily ministry. Prayer and life was for him a unique, never-ending and unifying experience. So that is something connected with his contact with the Father. Now coming to his contact with people, the life of Jesus was for others. He lived and moved among people. Perhaps, but for prayer, Jesus could not think of a life without people. His contact with children, disciples, women, poor, lame, blind, deaf, lepers, Samaritans, Romans, and even pagans. We find a series of contacts in the Gospels. Jesus also had interaction with Jews, scribes, Pharisees, young and old, the centurion, the tax collectors, sick people, Greeks, tradesmen. All this made his prayer more efficacious and effective. Jesus wanted to establish a kingdom of universal brotherhood. In view of this, he ignored all restrictions. He went to meet sinners and downtrodden. He looked for the very least and the abandoned. He let himself be monopolized by the sick and by the afflicted. He accepted pagans and he condemned the rigidity and the pride of the pious or the Pharisees and the scribes. He always understood people, sympathizing with them, being tuned into them, and loving them with all their limitations and mistakes. So what we find in the life of Jesus: acceptance, compassion, understanding, forgiveness were habitual attitudes of Jesus towards that throng of needy people who approached him every day. Publicans, sinners, prostitutes, criminals, foreigners, lepers, widows, children, the sick, suffering, the possessed, renegades, even enemies, the poor, and even those who crucified him later. Jesus had a particular regard for the poor and the despised. He said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." This poverty of spirit is a lack of outward goods lived with an inward attitude of confidence, gratitude, and absolute faith in divine providence. He puts forward poverty of spirit as the ideal of true Christian. If you would be perfect, go sell what you possess and give it to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven, and then come and follow me. Matthew 19:21. Dear friends, Jesus' contact with the Father, his contact with the people. And in the next episode, we will see Jesus' contact with nature, how powerful it was to make his prayer so rich, so intense, so filled with the Spirit, where the disciples looked at him and said, "Lord, teach us to pray," when Jesus was at prayer. We need to learn from Jesus the power of prayer. We can learn it every day through the Holy Scripture, through especially the New Testament. If we keep Jesus as our model and ideal, we will certainly pray in an effective, powerful, and enriching and deeply satisfying way. God bless you.